What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of High Mythology, the show where we get higher than the little bird child, little child bird.
Okay.
Shapeshifter man. tell you guys silly stories from mythology and folklore.
Nice.
Tonight we will be bringing you some more Russian folk tales, fairy tales, tales.
Tales of the Crypt.
Tales of the Crypt. Yeah.
Some definitely lesser known stories.
Yeah, some lesser known stories. Yeah, we like Kim's really good at finding the stories that no one's heard before.
These are my
I mean, people have obviously heard them before, but like she finds good obscure ones. So
yes, thank you.
Yeah,
I hunt them down.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Story Hunter.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's going to be the new show on TBS.
I play a lot of strange games. So I'm like, what's this?
What is this? My balls
This
for
is
your
a thing.
dinner?
This is a fucking thing. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Well, I guess without further ado, Kim, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. The story's called Magic. Once there lived an old man and an old woman who had a son, and the old man was poor.
Oh, where's that?
Clearly the woman is too, because she has nothing. They don't mention her. He wanted to place...
The old man is poor and the old woman is irrelevant.
He wanted to place the boy as an apprentice, that he might rejoice his parents in his youth and help them in their old age, and pray for their souls after their death. But what could he do, having no wealth? He led his son through many cities, hoping that somebody would take him in as an apprentice. But no one would.
No one would.
Nobody wanted to, at least not without being paid for it. The old man returned home and wept with his wife, and grieved over his property.
It's when you know your son's real shitty at a job. Like, yeah, I've been trying to find him a job, but basically they want me to pay them to let him work there.
I know, right? Like, it sucks.
Yeah.
And again, he led his son into the city. They had no sooner come to the city than a man met them and asked,
"Why are you so sad, old man?"
And the old man says,
"Oh, how can I help being sad? I've been leading my son. He's really shitty. He's a real piece of shit, real lazy for many months. But no one wants to teach him a trade, without being paid for it. Because he is so stupid. It's basically like babysitting. I have no money. I'm broke."
The man says, "Indeed.
Give him to me. Give me your stupid child. I'll take him in. In 3 years, I will teach him all kinds of crafts. And in 3 years, on the same day, at the same hour as now, come for your son. But mind you, if you are not late, if you come on time and recognize your son, you can have him back. If you do not, he will remain with me."
The old man was so overjoyed that he did not ask who the man was, where he lived, or what he would teach his son. He left his son with him and went home. He returned joyfully and told his wife all that had happened, but the man he had met was a magician. It's just like a gypsy.
Uh-oh. That's he gets sucked into the world of magic. This is actually David Blaine's backstory.
We'll see.
We'll see.
3 years went by, and the old man had completely forgotten on what day he had placed his son in as an apprentice and did not know what to do. But one day before the term was up, the son came flying to him in the shape of a little bird, struck the mound of the earth near the house, and entered it as a goodly youth.
A godly youth.
He bowed to his father and said that on the following day that the old man would have to come for him because the term of 3 years would then be up. And he told his father where to come and how to recognize him. He said,
"I am not my master's only apprentice. There are 11 others who have remained with him forever because their parents could not recognize them. And if you fail to recognize me, I shall be the 12th to remain with him forever. Tomorrow, when you come for me, our master will set all 12 of us free in the shape of white doves.
This is your
Such a
hero's.
magician thing to do.
This is your hero's backstory.
Fucking Chris Angel mind freak. He's gonna release us as 12 doves, which will fly out of his sleeve, but he'll make it look like we didn't. Our master will set all 12 of us free in the shape of 12 white doves. I said that already, but I wanted to really drive it home.
At least you found the words.
All alike, feather for feather, tail for tail, head for head. But look very carefully, because I will be the one with gigantic balls.
I'll be sorry.
All of them will soar high, but I will fly slightly higher than the other, because I've got gigantic balls.
Look for them.
Look for them. The master will ask, do you recognize your son? Then point at the dove that flies the highest, the one with gigantic balls.
Hangs the lowest.
Yeah, the one that hangs the lowest. He's just dragging along the ground with those big old balls.
He's just hitting the other ones in the head.
It's like you turned all of him
flies.
into a dove except for his balls. Those are grown man balls on a dove. Then he will lead 12 colts before you, all of them the same color, all with their manes on the same side and all alike. When you pass by these colts, watch carefully. One will have gigantic balls. I will stamp my right foot. Nay. The master will ask again, do you recognize your son? And you must boldly point right at my gigantic testicles.
Jesus.
Then he will lead 12 good youths before you. All alike, body for body, hair for hair, voice for voice, all the same in face and dress. But one of them will have gigantic balls. When you pass by these youths, watch carefully. A little fly will sit on my right cheek. I won't move at all because I'm kind of a serial killer now.
Some Westworld shit.
Some Westworld shit. A fly will walk across my eye and I won't blink. You'll be really creeped out. Also, I will have gigantic balls.
Don't forget, that's key.
Don't forget, that's the key. He'll ask you if you recognize your son, and then just say like, yeah, that's my son over there, the creepy little fuck with big balls.
And the fly walking across.
With the fly walking across his eye. He's always been weird. I told you guys, he's really off. That's why he couldn't get a job.
He said all of this, took his leave to his father, and went forth from the house, struck the mound of earth, and turned into a bird, and flew back to his master. Next morning...
Dragon balls on the ground.
I like to think he swoops down low and hits passerbys in the head.
Passerbys
Does
fly
somebody
by
just
tea
teabag
bags.
me?
No, what the fuck? I got a little welt.
The next morning, the old man arose, made ready, and went for his son. He came to the magician, and the magician said,
Well, old man, I have taught all kinds of crafts to your son. I'm aware it sounds very creepy when I say it like that. Kind of weird, but not like that. Maybe like that, though.
Yeah.
But if you don't recognize him, you must stay with me for all eternity in my Never-Never-Land ranch.
Then he set free 12 white doves, all alike, feather for feather, tail for tail, head for head, and a big pair of balls on the one at the top.
Just teabagging the others.
The magician
How is
said,
he flying so high? Oh, he teabags the bird below him, and it helps give him lift.
the magician said,
Now find your son. Good luck.
how could he recognize his son, since the birds were all alike? He looked, and when one dove soared higher than all the others, with a giant pair of balls just hanging from it, he pointed at it and said,
that's the one. I know my son's giant balls anywhere.
And the magician said,
Damn, you have recognized him.
Next, he led out 12 colts, all alike with their manes on one side, and the old man began to walk around the colts and look, and the master asked him,
"Well, grandfather, do you recognize your son?"
The old man says,
Not yet. Wait a while.
One horse gladly turned around for him, and he recognized the balls right away. Then he saw it stamping his right foot and straightaway pointed at it, saying,
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's him.
The magician says,
You've recognized him again.
Finally, 12 good youths came forth, all alike, body for body, hair for hair, voice for voice, with faces all alike, as though they had been born by one mother, except for one with gigantic package down beneath. The old man passed by the youths and once did not notice anything, but then he passed by a second time, and it just got real big. And then he saw the fly sitting on the cheek of the youth and said,
Yeah, that's my kid. I've seen him do that same thing before. It's real creepy. He just zone out.
The magician said.
You've recognized him.
The magician had no choice now. He gave the old man his son, and they went home together. They walked and walked and saw a nobleman driving on the road. The son said,
Father, I shall now turn into a dog. The nobleman will want to buy me. Sell me, but do not sell my collar, for then I will not return to you.
Having said this, he struck the earth and turned into a dog. The nobleman saw the old man was leading the dog and began to bargain for it. He did not like the dog so much as he liked the collar. The nobleman offered 100 rubles, and the old man asked for 300. They bargained, and in the end, the nobleman bought the dog for 200 rubles. When the old man began to remove the collar of the dog, the nobleman protested loudly, but he insisted on having it. The old man said,
I did not sell the collar. I sold only the dog.
But the nobleman replied, No, you are lying. He who bought the dog bought him with the collar. And the old man thought, and after all, one cannot buy a dog without a collar, and gave it to the new owner. The nobleman,
one thing you weren't supposed to do.
The nobleman put the dog in his carriage, and the old man took the money and went home. The nobleman drove, and when all of a sudden a hare ran across the road, and the nobleman thought, I will set this dog on the hare and see him run. How much money can I get for this? He let the dog go.
You just got the dog. You've given it zero training. It doesn't know you at all, and you expect it to come back.
He let the dog go and watched, and the hare ran off on one side and the dog on the other, and both vanished into the woods. The nobleman waited and waited for the dog, but then lost patience and went home with nothing, and the dog returned to the good youth. Meanwhile, the old man walked and walked along the broad road, thinking to himself,
How can I show myself at home? How do I tell my wife what I did to our son?
Then his son overtook him, and he said,
Hey, Dad, why the fuck did you sell me with my collar? That was like the one thing I told you not to do. You know, when I turned back to a human, I was butt-ass naked. I had to drag my big balls all the way back here through the thorn bushes.
You could just bounce them out.
Bounced on them. I should never have returned. I would have been lost for nothing.
They returned home and lived fairly comfortable. After a long time or a short time, the son said one Sunday to his father, I'm assuming it's just at the end of the week on a Sunday.
Okay, Dad, weird pitch. I'm going to turn into a bird, and I want you to sell me. No, just don't sell my cage, because then I won't come back home.
He struck the earth and turned into a bird, and the old man put him in a cage and carried it to market. People thronged around the old man, vying with each other to buy the bird. So greatly did he charm their souls. The magician also came, recognized the old man at once, and guessed what kind of bird was in the cage. One man offered a high price, another still higher price, but the magician offered most of all. The old man sold him the bird, but refused to give him the cage, and the magician argued with him and insisted, but all to no avail. The buyer took the bird without the cage, wrapped it in a handkerchief, and took him home. The magician said,
Well, little daughter, I have bought our rascal.
His daughter said, "Where is he?" And the magician opened his handkerchief, but the bird was gone. It had flown away. Another Sunday, the son said to his father,
Okay, Dad. Okay, weird pitch. Weird pitch here. I'm going to turn into a horse. Mind you. And so you go sell the horse, but keep the bridle. Keep the bridle, because otherwise I won't come back. And then, I'll be stuck naked in the woods again.
He struck the damp earth and turned into a horse. The old man led it to market, and the horse dealers thronged around the old man. Some offered a high price, still others higher, but the magician offered most of all. The old man sold him to the horse, but refused to give him the bridle. The magician said,
How shall I lead the horse? Let me bring him to my yard at least, and then you can have your bridle. I won't need it.
All the horse dealers began to recommend with the old man, saying that this was the custom, that if he sold a horse, he also had to sell the bridle. What could he do? He gave away the bridle.
Not sell your son.
The magician...
Go home and teach him the value of not selling your son.
Yeah. The magician brought the horse to his courtyard and put it in the stable, tethering it firmly to a ring, and stretched its head upon high. The horse stood only on its hind legs, and its forelegs did not touch the ground. The magician said again,
Just walking around like a person.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? Well, daughter, this time I have bought our rascal.
And she said, "Where is he?" And he said,
In the stables. His big balls couldn't fit through the door.
The daughter ran to see him. She took pity on the goodly youth, and she wanted to loosen the reins and began to disentangle and untie him. The horse wrestled himself free and ran away, and the daughter rushed to her father, saying, "Father, forgive me, and Eva that confused me, and the horse ran away. Bye-bye."
Bye-bye. Toodaloo.
Ta-ta. The magician struck the damp earth, turned into a gray wolf, and ran in pursuit. He was close behind the horse now, and at any moment he would overtake him. The horse came to a river and struck the ground and turned into a perch, and plop, into the water he jumped.
Fucker.
But the wolf plunged after him in the shape of a pike. The perch swam and swam near and came near a jetty where lovely maidens were washing linen, and turned into a golden ring and rolled to the feet of a merchant's daughter. The merchant's daughter picked up the ring and hid it, and the magician turned into a man and said to her,
Give me back my gold ring. You you've literally got your finger inside of someone right now.
The maiden screams, "Eek, take it!"
Eek.
Well, there wasn't anyone there. I'm assuming that they were washing themselves. And all of a sudden, a pike turns into a man.
The pike jumps out of the water and turns into a man. Naked man, I'm gonna give me back my ring. Uh-oh.
Fuck this.
Fuck this.
The maiden threw the ring on the ground, and when it struck the ground, it shattered into tiny seeds of grain. The magician turned into a cock and rushed to peck the grain. And while he pecked it...
It's a flopping weeder.
Big old balls. Huh?
He turned into a cock and he went after those balls.
And he rushed to peck the grain. While he pecked it, one seed of grain turned into a hawk, and that was too bad for the cock. The hawk tore him to pieces. Can I finish the last sentence? This is the end of my tale, and now I wouldn't mind having a glass of vodka.
Ooh. And he turned into a hawk.
And ate the cock.
And it was bad luck for the cock.
I like to rhyme at the very end. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Look
for our merch, because he turned into a hawk, and that was bad luck for the cock shirt. It's probably coming out soon.
I won't have to write it down. Where's my notepad for that shit?
Where's my notepad? Where's my butler?
Where is my notepad?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. I even lost the page.
Yeah, if you want to hit up our merch, check out our merch. teespring.com/high-mythology-merch. Yeah, we get some stuff. Some good stuff. So check it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Yeah. Another thing to check out. There's some other good podcasts out there. We got a lot of small time podcasters. Independent podcasts. But I've been listening to some good ones. Today we laughed and learned. That's a good one. Check that out if you like podcasts. Which you do.
Yeah, of course you do. Right?
Yeah, that has been a rambling, dusty moment for you folks.
You.
Yeah.
Just so that Kim can find her place again.
Yeah. All right, Kim, go ahead.
Thank you. Story number 2 is The Wise Wife.
Ooh.
She's not that wise.
She's spoiler alert.
She's more like a brunette than a blonde.
She's not that wise.
Just kidding.
She's not. I'm guessing her husband.
I guess an IQ of 120 is
simpleton.
a lot better than an IQ of 10. Yeah, her husband's a simpleton. In a certain kingdom, in a certain land, in a little village, there lived an old man and his old wife. They had 3 sons, 2 clever ones and a simple one. The time came for the eldest son. The time came for the old man to die, and he divided his money. He just knew he was going to die, and he was like, fuck it, here's my split. He gave the eldest son 100 rubles and the middle son 100 rubles and thought, but did not want to give anything to the simpleton, who, he thought, would lose his money anyhow. The simpleton says,
But Papa, all the children are equal, whether they're smart or foolish or whatnot. Just give me, I want some money. Give me money too.
So the old man gave him 100 rubles too. The father died and his sons buried him. Now the clever brothers set out to buy oxen at the market, and the simpleton went there too. The clever ones bought oxen, and the simpleton brought back a cat and a dog. Several days later, the older brothers harnessed their oxen and made ready to take to the road. Seeing them do this, the younger brother also prepared to go. They asked,
Bro, what are you doing? Why do you want to go? Like, so people are going to laugh at you?
And the simple brother said,
Me and this cat and dog, we're going to start a band. It's going to be real cool. I'm going to sell out stadiums.
The simpleton took his dog and his cat and slung a bag over his shoulder and left the house. He walked and walked until he came to a big river. He had not a penny to pay for a ferry, and the simpleton did not stop to think very long. He gathered dried branches and made a hut on the shore and started to live in it. The dog began to hunt all around the neighborhood, and it stole crusts of bread, took care of itself, fed its master, and the cat as well. One day, a ship laden with all kind of merchandise sailed down the river. The simpleton saw it and cried,
That is the simpleton move. I'm just going to go like 600 feet down the road, build a little hut out of sticks. I'll live there. Hey, Mr. Shipmaster. You're sailing the trade, huh? Take my merchandise too. Share it half and half with me.
And he threw his cat on board the ship. The shipworkers, laughing, said,
What do we need this base for? Come on, boys, let's drop it in the water.
The shipmaster says,
Look here, ye mateys. Don't touch that cat. Let it hunt rats and mice aboard me ship. Give it an eye patch and a peg leg.
After some time, a long while, or a short time, the ship came to a foreign land where no one had ever seen cats, and there were many rats and mice running about all their bades in the grass in the fields. And the shipmaster displayed his merchandise and began to sell it. The merchant became interested and bought the whole cargo and said to the shipmaster, Now we must split our bargain. Come with me and I will treat you.
Now we must make out.
He brought the guest
the
to his
custom.
home and got him drunk and ordered some clerks to take him to the barn and said, "Let the rats devour him, and then we will get all the wealth for nothing." They took the shipmaster to a dark barn and threw him on the ground, but his cat had followed him along, and having become so fond of him, it would not move a step away from him. It wriggled into the barn, and it fell into a strangling of rats. It strangled a huge number of them, and the next morning the host came out and saw the shipmaster was safe and sound, and then the cat was finishing the last of the rats. He said, "Sell me your beast." And then they bargained, and finally the merchant bought the cat for 6 barrels of gold. How did he not just kill the man and take the cat? After he was already trying to kill him.
Okay. Now that I saw you got this cool thing, I'm not gonna kill you.
Right? It doesn't make any sense.
He was afraid that the cat would kill him.
That he had 6 barrels of gold, man. Like, for a cat.
He was afraid the cat was gonna kill him. They're mystical. No one's seen a cat there before. He's just like, if it did this to all the rats, it could surely kill me and my men.
Right? Fuck it. The shipmaster returned to his own country and found the simpleton and gave him 3 barrels of gold. The simpleton wondered,
Hey, this is a lot of gold. What should I do with it?
And went through the towns and villages, dividing it amongst the poor. He distributed 2 barrels, but with the third he bought instead incense, piled it up in an open field, and lighted it. The sweet smoke went up to the gods in heaven, and suddenly an angel appeared. And the angel says, "The Lord has commanded me to ask you what you wish." And the simpleton says,
I don't know. Maybe we could get the band back together with me and the dog and the cat. But they don't play instruments, so the cow is kind of a lost cause.
And the angel says, "Well,
Hey,
go over there. 3 peasants, they're plowing the land. Ask them and they will tell you." Hoo-hoo. The simpleton.
Okay.
The simpleton took his stick and went to where the plowmen were working. He approached the first and says,
Hey, old guy.
The old man says,
"Oh, greetings, old fellow.
The simpleton says,
So can you tell me? I'm supposed to ask you what I want. What do I want?
I thought that was your voice.
From
was
the Lord. Hey. Oh no.
How'd you get old?
Oh yeah. Oh, there we. Yeah. Oh,
You'll have something stuck in your
there
throat.
was an old man. There was an old man stuck in my throat. Oh no.
Golly.
Papa, I'm a
And-
simpleton.
And the old man says,
I don't know what you fucking want. Who the fuck are you? Can't you see I'm fucking old, man? I live in a hut.
the simpleton did not stop to
plowing
think.
my ass, goddamn fields. You got shit for brains or what? You just plain stupid. Go bother someone else with your stupid fucking questions. God damn it.
Forgot about the rant.
And a fucking another thing, man.
The simpleton did not stop to think very long. He struck the old man with his stick right on the head and killed him.
Oh, Jesus. Oh.
As an angel is trying to ask him what he needs, you know what I mean? I'm surprised they even help him at all after this. He approached the second plowman and again asked,
Yeah, hey there. Tell me, old man, what should I ask for from the Lord?
The old man says,
Ask for common sense, you brainless lunatic. Now get the fuck out of here. Get out of here, you fuck.
That's way better than how should I know?
How should I know? Get the fuck out of here.
The simpleton struck him with the stick without even giving him time to gasp.
Dude.
He came to the third plowman and said,
Papa, Now you tell me, old man, what the fuck do I want?
The old man answered.
Jesus, man, they're families. Even I have a family I'm trying to support. Holy fuck. Ah, jeez. I guess if you should get wealth, you might forget about God. So you'd better ask for like a wise wife or some fucking therapy, man. You just killed my friends. We all served in ancient Nam together. Whatever the ancient equivalent of that, Russian Nam.
We all served in the Hungarian War.
We all served in the Hungarian Wars, and let me tell you, boy, it was hungry.
Have you ever met Attila?
Have you ever met Attila? 'Cause I did. I knew Attila. That
We were
first
fighting for
man you killed,
Alexandria.
he was a professional tiller. He tilled fields for life. And you killed him with a stick.
What the fuck, man?
There's something wrong with you, man.
The simpleton returned to the angel, who asked, "Well, have you been told?" And he said,
I think someone told me something about like a wife.
and the angel said, "Go and search to such and such river. Sit on a bridge at such and such place.
You son of a bitch.
Look into this particular water."
Real specific. Real specific.
"All kinds of fish will pass you by, big and small,
Big or small. Swimming or crawling.
round or square.
Round or square. Red fish or blue fish.
Amongst these fish will be a little one, a little perch with a golden ring.
Giant balls.
Snatch this fish,
Hey, it's the perch from the last one.
snatch his pussy,
Snatch it.
and throw it behind you on the damp earth. Just toss it over your shoulder like a fucking...
Chuck it. Just chuck it
Baboon
over your
shit.
shoulder.
The simpleton did as he was told, and he came to the river, sat on such and such bridge, and stared into the only water available. All kinds of fish swam by him.
To the only water available.
All sorts of fish swam by him. And then the perch with the golden ring came on it. And he snatched it at once and threw it behind him onto the damp earth. And the little fish turned into a lovely maiden. She said to him, "G'day."
G'day, mate.
"Howdy."
Crikey.
"Howdy, friend."
Yeah, friend.
They took each other by the hand and went on their way. They walked, and the sun began to set, and they stopped and spent the night in the open field. The simpleton fell asleep, and the lovely maiden cried out in a high voice, "Ha, ha, 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 ha." Straight away, 12 workers appeared. The maiden ordered, "Now build me a rich palace with like a golden roof."
Build the wall.
In a thrice, the palace was ready, and the mirrors and the pictures and everything that could be desired. They had gone to sleep in an open field and woke in a splendid chamber. The king himself beheld the palace with the golden roof and was astonished, summoned the simpleton, and said,
Only yesterday there was a big-ass field over there I used to like to go wander around and stand in sometimes.
naked half the time.
Naked most of the time. I like the way the tall grass bushes my taint.
And tickles
It tickles my taint.
genitals.
But now there's a fucking house here. What are you, a sorcerer, a magician, a wizard? Or maybe just... Are you David Blaine?
The simpleton says,
No. I think it was God.
and the king says,
Well, since you could build a palace in one night, you must build a bridge from your palace to mine, so we can wander over and play night tickles with one another, with one arch of silver and the other arch of gold. You know, and also, just if you haven't built it by tomorrow, I'll send my geese to shit all over your palace. Just cover it. I've got a lot of geese, man. I really love my geese. And while you're sleeping, I'll cut off your head and put it on a spike, And then I'll take the spike to dinner parties and I'll talk to it and I'll be friends with it. And then one day I'll just discard it and never call it again. So don't fuck with me. I'm pretty hardcore. I'll build a lasting relationship with that severed head.
The simpleton went away weeping. His wife met him at their door and asked, "Why do you weep?" Or no, that's not it. "Why are you weeping?"
Why are you weeping?
He said,
how can I help not weeping? The king, he commanded me to do some bridge stuff. I don't know anything about bridges, and he wants to play tickle parties, and I don't know if I'm ready for a tickle party with the king, and if it's not ready by tomorrow, he'll cut off my head.
She said, "Well, don't you worry, me amore. Go to sleep, and in the morning is wiser than the evening."
Me amore.
The simpleton lay down and fell asleep, and when he arose the next morning, everything was done. The bridge was so beautiful, and you could not feast your eyes enough on it. The king summoned the simpleton and said,
"You have done well." Yeah, now in one night I want you to make some apple trees grow on both sides, because I get famished after a good tickle party. And make the apples hang on them. I want like big dangling apples, just like dangling down there. And I want the birds of paradise, I want them singing on the apples.
Okay.
And strange kittens from foreign lands mewing underneath them. Mew, 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 mew. And if it's not ready by tomorrow, then by my head your sword shall fall. By my sword your head shall fall.
Did I write it backwards?
No. By my geese you shall kneel.
The simpleton went away weeping, and his wife met him at their door. She says, "Why are you crying, me amore?"
My more.
And he says,
How could I help but not weeping? The king has commanded me to make apple trees grow on both sides, and I don't know nothing about trees and birds and ripe apples and something about cats. There's cats. He wants cats playing, just mewing all the time. You can't make a kitten mew. And if all doesn't work, he said something about cutting my head off or me cutting his head off. I'm still unsure.
His wife said, "Don't you worry nothing, me amore. The morning is wiser than the evening." And the next morning, when the simpleton arose, everything was done. The apples were ripe, the birds were singing, and the kittens were mewing. The simpleton picked some of the apples and brought them to the king on a dish. The king ate one apple, then another, and said,
"You deserve praise. I've never tasted such sweet apples. So, well, brother, since you are so clever, go to the other side of...
Go to the other world.
Go to the other world and find my dead father and ask him if he loves me." He's never said it while he was alive, but maybe now that he's dead, you can get it out of him. And also find out where that cheap son of a bitch put all the money. And remember this, if you don't find him, I'll send my geese to fuck you up, man. They are hardcore. I've got some geese. They're prison geese. He's got neck tattoos. I put them on steroids. They pump iron. They just listen to death metal all day. They're scary. They scare me sometimes. They're all jacked, bigger than kangaroos. And I also have kangaroos.
They're not nearly as big.
They're not nearly as big or scary as the geese, but I'll send them too if you don't find my dead father and find out whether or not he loved me, and also where his fortune went. Because there's no way I spent it all on geese and geese trading. Although I did spend a lot.
Again, the simpleton went away weeping. And his wife asked him, "Why are you crying, honey?" He says,
I think the king's going to crush the economy because he spent all this money on geese. And I'm also supposed to go find a dead guy. I don't even think that's possible.
His wife says, "This is not yet any misfortune. Go to the king and ask him to send you as companions the proud men who give such evil counsel."
Counsel.
Mi amore.
Mi amore.
The king named 2 boyars as the simpleton's companions, and his wife fetched a ball of thread. She said, "Now take this and go boldly wherever the ball rolls." The ball rolled, and straight into the sea. The sea parted, and a way was opened. The simpleton took a few steps, and he and his companions found themselves in the other world. He looked around and saw the devils had harnessed a load of wood to the king's dead father and were prodding him with iron rods. The simpleton cried,
Hey, cut it out.
The devils raised their horned heads, and asked,
What do you want?
The simpleton says,
I got to talk to that guy, then you can go back to poking him.
The devils say,
What an idea! You seem like talking to you would be torture. As though there were time to talk. The fire in hell might go out.
The simpleton says,
Hey, don't be afraid. You'll get there in time. Take these 2 boyars in his place, and they'll move the wood for you. There's some wood guys.
The devils quickly unharnessed the dead king and harnessed the 2 boyars in his place and drove them to hell with the wood. The simpleton said to the king's father,
It's like 5 bodies he's racked up. 2 of them he sent to hell. Yeah, your son sent me to ask you if you ever loved him, and also if you had some money stashed.
The dead king says,
This treasure lies in the deep cellars behind the stone walls. But they too is in them not. Tell my son this, if he rules the kingdom with as little truth as I did, the same thing will happen to him that happened to me. Also, tell him that I never loved him, and I would never say that, and he's a piece of shit who will never live up to my name. You can see for yourself how the devils have tormented me and poked me and whipped me, and sometimes they just spoon me, and it's kind of nice, but then it's back to the whipping, and I'm like, hey, that's not my thing. My sides, the back, all the bones, they mess with my bones, man. Now take this ring and give it to my son, and tell him it's not proof of affection.
Just as the king said these words, the devils came back. They said,
Ho, ho, ho. I am Santa Demon. This is a fine pair. Let us drive them once more.
The boyars cried to the simpleton, Take pity on us. Don't give us over to the devils. Take us back while we're still alive. And the devils unharnessed them, and the boyars returned with the simpleton to the white world. White world. Hashtag racist. They came to the king. He beheld the boyars, was horrified by their appearance. Their faces were hollow, and their eyes were staring, and iron rods protruded from their sides.
Ouch. You got rotted.
The king asked,
What the fuck happened down there?
The simpleton answered,
We were in the other world, and I saw the devils were like torturing your dad for a load of wood, and I stopped them, and I was like, hey, take these 2 guys down to hell for a little while, and go ahead and feel free to torture them and mentally scar them permanently while I spoke to your dad, and the devil used them to cart wood. Turns out your father, he didn't love you at all, and he thinks you're worthless.
The king asked.
And that's my father's message?
He said.
He said more than that. I think he called you something like a worthless piece of shit and said you wouldn't live up to him or something. But he told me to say that if you rule the kingdom like he did, with his little truth, the same thing will happen to you. And you'll be pretty much fucked by demons, but occasionally they might cuddle you. He also sent this ring as added proof that I talked to him, but he made sure to tell me it was not proof of his love for you because that does not exist.
The king says,
Is that a threat? I kind of stopped listening in the beginning, so I'm just assuming, was that a threat? This is not what I wanted to know. I wanted my Poppy's love. Now where's the goddamn treasures?
and he said,
Oh, yeah, it's the treasures in the deep cellars with the stone walls.
Straight away, a whole company of soldiers were called, and they began to break down the stone wall. They broke it, and behind the wall they found barrels of silver and gold, a treasure beyond counting. The king says to the simpleton,
Thank you, brother, for your service. Only do not be angry with me, since you were able to go to the other world and get me the self-playing Goosela. Goosela. I'm calling it Goosela because I've got a goose thing. Oh, and if you don't get it, I will definitely kill you.
The simpleton went away weeping. And his wife asked him, Why crying, honey? And he said,
How could I help the weeping? No matter how much I do, the king just keeps. I think threatening my life is pretty much goodbye for him. We've got a very upsetting, aggressive relationship. The king told me to get a fucking goosela. I don't even know what a goosela is.
She said, That ain't nothing at all, mi amore.
But what
Mi
is-
hermano makes them. That means brother in Spanish.
That means brother in Spanish.
She gave him a ball of thread and a towel that she herself had made, and instructed him to take him the king's counselors, the same 2 boyars as before, and said, Now you are going far away for a long time. The king may do an evil deed. He may be tempted by my beauty. My big ass.
She's basically letting him know. The second you're gone, I'm probably gonna fuck the king.
Go to the garden and cut 3 twigs. And the simpleton cut 3 twigs in the garden. Oh. And then she said, Now strike the palace and myself with these twigs 3 times each, and God speed you. The simpleton struck his wife, turned it into stone, and he got a switch and he beat his wife.
He beat his wife.
First one didn't work. I had to work 2 more times.
This is what? Strike number 6?
His wife turned into stone, and the palace turned into a stone mountain. And then the simpleton took the king's 2 boyars and set out on his way. Wherever the ball rolled, he followed. After some time, a long time, or a short time, and after he had gone some distance, a long distance or a short one,
You motherfuckers.
the ball rolled into a thick forest, straight to a little hut. The simpleton entered the hut and found there an old woman sitting. He said,
Hey, Grandma. I'm looking for someone who could make a goosela that plays itself. And I don't know what the fuck that is. But if you could have someone make one and that plays things and everyone dances all willy-nilly.
She says, Oh, my own son makes such gooselas. Wait a while, he will be soon. After a little while, the old woman's son came home and the simpleton said,
Oh, hey, master, could you make me the self-playing goosela?
He said,
I have a goosela all made and ready. I will give it to you as a gift, but on one condition. When I turn the goosela, no one must sleep. If anyone falls asleep in time, I will fail to rise, and when I call him, he must lose his head.
The simpleton says.
Yeah, okay.
The master set to work and began to tune the self-playing goosela. One of the boyars became dreamy from the sound of the music and fell sound asleep. The master called to him.
Hey there, Floopy Pants, are you sleeping?
The boyar did not rise nor answer, and his head rolled on the floor.
Uh-oh.
After 2 or 3 minutes, the other boyar fell asleep, and his head also came off at the shoulders.
Uh-oh.
Another minute passed, and the simpleton dozed off. The master called out.
Oh, hey there, Fuzzy Body, are you sleeping? Huh?
The simpleton says.
What? Fuck you, you're sleeping. I'm only. It's my eyes stick together sometimes, and I was resting my eyes after the journey. Give me some goddamn water or something. I want to wash my eyes.
The old woman brought some water, and the simpleton washed himself and took his embroidered towel and began to wipe himself. The old woman glanced at the towel and recognized her daughter's handiwork. She says, "Oh, my dear son-in-law, I did not expect to see you. Is my daughter well?" At once they fell into kissing and embracing, and for 3 days they rejoiced, and ate and drank and refreshed themselves. Then came the time to say farewell. The master gave his brother-in-law the self-playing guzla as a farewell, and the simpleton took it under his arm and set out on his way home. He walked and came out of the thick of the forest and into the highway, and he made him the self-playing guzla play. If he had been listening to it for 100 years, he would still not have heard it enough. It happened to meet a brigand, and the brigand said, "Give me your self-playing guzla,"
I want a goose.
the fellow said. And the simpleton says,
What's your stick for? What's your stick good for, you son of a bitch?
oh, I missed a part. "Give me your guzla and I'll give you my stick." Sorry. And we'll get your stick.
There we go. That's your stick.
And the fellow said, "Oh, it's not an ordinary stick. Just say to it, stick, strike, and hit, and it will kill a whole army." The simpleton...
Simpleton does not need this. He's already racked up 3 bodies, 2 tortured souls.
The simpleton exchanged the guzla for the stick and took the stick and commanded it to kill the brigand. The stick flew at the brigand and hit him once or twice and slew him. The simpleton took back the self-playing guzla and went on. He came to his own country, and the simpleton thought...
He's the hero of the story.
Yep.
You're not supposed to behave like that. There's no way to get rid of him. Why should I go to the king? There's time for that. I would rather go bang my wife first.
He struck the stone mountain with his 3 twigs, once, twice, and thrice, and the marvelous palace was there. He struck the stone, and his wife stood before him. They embraced, greeted each other, exchanged some sloppy sex, and then 2, 3 words, and then the simpleton took the guzla. He did not forget the stick, and went to the king. The king saw him and thought,
"You miserable wretch. Instead of reporting to me immediately, first you went and banged your wife. I know this because I watched you from my palace window like a creeper."
the simpleton says.
What?
The king says,
"Oh no, I watch a lot of the things you do from my palace. I have mirrors set up, and I have angles and telescopics, and I can't make a fur coat out of your tradition. What?" "Nothing you say will win my forgiveness. Hand me my steel sword and call the soldier geese in here, the real jacked up ones."
The simpleton saw that the time had come to settle their accounts and cried,
"Stick, fuck 'em up."
And the stick flew at the king, struck him
Okay,
out
buddy.
once, struck him twice, and then slew him. And the simpleton became king in his stead and ruled long and mercifully.
And the stick became king.
That was his lieutenant.
Damn.
That was it.
That was it, yeah.
Was it long?
Yeah, that was pretty.
I guess we only got time for 2 stories. Sorry, guys.
Well,
I guess we'll make a short
short coming up next time.
next time.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Thank you.
I like the simpleton. He is not a good kid.
Not a good guy. He killed a lot of people.
He killed a lot of people.
Well, no one is, David killed a bunch of fucking shit.
Goliath, who was an asshole and possibly the last giant.
Maybe he was forced to being an asshole.
Maybe he was forced. No one asks him about his perspective.
You know what I mean? Poor people.
I have to be this way because I'm.
Maybe he was just trying to take care of his family. Huh?
His family of giants. You know how much they eat?
A lot.
A little bit, actually. It's a common misconception, and it's rude of you to assume.
What the fuck?
That's anti-giantist.
Well, I don't know. In the Norse ones, they ate one whole ox. And that usually lasted them a couple meals.
Yeah.
If you think about it from then. But Thor ate 3. So hard to say.
Hard to say. Ox could just be maybe they were small ox.
I don't know. I'm thinking they look like chicken wings to him.
Chicken wing. Yeah. Hope you folks enjoyed this. Like, share, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff.
Find us on Twitter.
Find us on Twitter at HowleyBoys, HAOLE_BOYS. And,
Catch up on anything coming up.
We got stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.